Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Right now, tonight, this very night, or day, or whenever you're listening to it, really, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from the picket lines to the North Pole, everywhere in between. What does that second location mean? We'll get there. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, I just came from not quite the North Pole, but pretty close, seeing I was just up in Canada. Came back today just to record for you. So,
well,
here we
thank you
are.
so much. Did you attend Toronto Fan Expo while you were there?
Well, unfortunately, no, I did not. I walked past the convention center multiple times, but we were up
so close.
We were up on a family trip, and I didn't even know what was going on. If I had, I may have petitioned for going up for another day and letting me to just go play around for the at least a day.
Yeah.
Seeing like Hayden Christensen and various other people were all signing autographs. He's a Toronto native, which I did not realize.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
Cool.
So, bunch of people signing, bunch of people around. Some great cosplays all around, as you can imagine. And yeah, it was fun because we hit the CN Tower and the aquarium, which are both right next to the convention center.
Yeah.
So we're walking around, and I'm like, oh, there's that costume I recognize. Oh, there's a pair of Jedi. Oh, there's that. I'm like, oh. Meanwhile, my wife and her friend are just like, what is going on here? And I'm like, oh, I'm in my element. Cool.
You're like, my people are so close. I'm right here.
Yep.
But I cannot connect.
But I'm going up a giant glass elevator, which was awesome in its own right. And my son had a blast. So.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I know I have said this before. But I've said this before, and we end up having a wonderfully hour-plus conversation about nerdy stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it'll happen again, but I don't know. But the thing I'm saying is this week is a very light week for news.
It does seem like
very
a light week.
In a way that I don't know that we're going to be doing a super regular length episode, but you know what? That's fine, I think, because Steve, the last few weeks, we've gone like an hour and 20 minutes, I think. It was pretty long.
Yeah.
Pretty long. So longer than we used to usually go. So we might actually be able to keep it a little on the shorter side this week. But we do have some strike-adjacent news. We got some minor Star Wars news. We got a good amount of comics stuff to talk about, reviews and whatnot, and things coming out this week. And as always, we are sponsored by Funky Town Comics in the town of Camillus. Check them out for all your comics and graphic novel and vinyl and toy needs.
Mm-hmm.
However, unfortunately, we do have to start on a down note. And wishing bidding a fond farewell and a rest in peace to Arleen Sorkin, woman who was the original voice and also the inspiration for the characterization and creation of Harley Quinn. Passed away at the age of 67. Well-known comic writer and writer for Batman the Animated Series, Paul Dini, who created Harley Quinn for the show, was friends with Arleen Sorkin in college and based the character on her, including like not just her voice, the way she talked, but also her mannerisms, her sense of humor, all that kind of like quirky stuff came from Arleen Sorkin in real life. And so safe to say that without this woman, there would be no Harley Quinn, or certainly not in the way that we know her to be now. So anyone who is a fan of this character, has ever been a fan of this character in any form, owes a thank you to Arleen Sorkin, who sadly passed away this past week. And felt like that was deserving of a shout out for sure. So
absolutely. Now
a lot of
today I learned that Harley Quinn did not exist before Batman the Animated Series. So
yes, she was created for the series, and it was not too long before she made the jump to her first comics appearance was in like I think the Batman Adventures, which was a comic book version of the animated series. And then so it was a little bit longer before she jumped to like mainline canon, but still pretty quickly because she was so popular immediately.
Right.
I think one of her first appearances in the show, she doesn't really even say anything, or doesn't say too much.
Right.
She's kind of just a background character, and then just kept getting more and more popular.
Well, and now if you remotely pick up anything DC, it's fairly ubiquitous that she's there front and center.
Yeah, she's an A-lister.
Yeah.
On the DC side or in the comics world in general. Hugely popular character, and thanks in no small part to Arleen Sorkin. So, rest in peace, Arleen. Moving into some strike news. Guess what? Strike's still happening. Studios are still being ghouls about their money. Writers and actors still walking those picket lines. And I feel like there's been a couple in the last couple weeks. It's been like, oh, we're open to negotiating, and then it turns out that studios are not really open to negotiating, and they're just trying to talk the unions into accepting their original proposals instead of asking for anything new, and still denying counter proposals. So,
right. In the words of Inigo Montoya, I do not think that word means what they think it means.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not actually putting in the work to counteroffer or negotiate or anything like that. So, so still going on. Still no end in sight for the writers or the actors. But starting to see signs of the studios feeling it, I think, or bracing for feeling it at least, and doing dumb things. I'm going to come right out of the gate with my opinion on this next story. This is a dumb move. Big dumb move. Warner Brothers Discovery. I know what you're thinking. What? A dumb move by David Zaslav of Warner Brothers Discovery? He makes all the right decisions, all the most popular decisions.
Everybody loves him.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Everyone loves this guy so much. He's our favorite billionaire CEO.
That makes way more than any other billionaire CEO.
Yeah. Just kidding. That man's dumb. And another dumb decision he has made. I don't mind calling him dumb straight up because, one, he's a billionaire. Two, he doesn't care about me at all. And he'll never hear it. And if he does, he won't care that I call him dumb because he'll just fall asleep on his big Scrooge McDuck pile of money.
If he does, that means we made him like.
Yes. If this show gets shut down because of David Zaslav, fine.
I'll take it.
We'll take it. We'll rebrand and start another show with thousands of more supporters and listeners. Anyway, Warner Brothers Discovery has delayed a number of its upcoming big tentpole films due to the strike. Now they're claiming that this is because they want to have actors available to be on the promotion circuit when these movies are coming out. They want them to be on talk shows, podcasts, yada yada.
Sure. Sorry,
giving interviews. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a dumb excuse, but then I don't know what the real reason would be for moving these things.
I mean, what the real reason is they know they're going to get hit, and they know they're not going to be able to produce content quick enough. So they have to push it out to spread things out. They're
trying to spread out their stuff. But that still doesn't make any sense to me then. Why you would move Dune Part 2 from November 3rd to March 15th, 2024, because they've already put so much money into the marketing of Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
We've been getting teasers and trailers for months. There's like a big Empire magazine spread that's hitting like this week or something. They're not going to do that again in March. Like, we'll get another trailer, but people are ready to see Dune now. This movie's coming out in November. It's the end of August. We're almost into the fall. I've been seeing Dune Part 2 trailers for the last like 3 or 4 movies I've gone to see this summer.
Right.
Like, the marketing engine is going for Dune Part 2.
And it still looks good every time you see those trailers.
It does look good. And this is a movie that Part 1 was nominated for Oscars. I don't remember if it won any like visual effects Oscars.
Might have.
But you're moving it to March. That's likely after this year's Oscar ceremony, which means it's going to get forgotten by the time the 2024 Oscars nominations come around.
Right. So that does move it out of this year, and yeah,
It moves it out of this year's contention, and it's going to come out so early in the Oscar year that no one's going to remember it by the time it comes around. There's going to be no hype behind it, you know?
Yeah. Now, at the same time, compared to some of the other movies coming out this fall, you have Dune, who is, because of the popularity of part one and the rave reviews it got and whatnot, probably guaranteed to make some money. Whereas the movies that they've left in December, I haven't heard of anything else major coming out in November. But what they've decided to leave in the December slate is, two of them are very questionable as to whether they're going to make any money or not.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Agreed.
weirdly, the two that I'm talking about are Wonka and Aquaman.
I think Aquaman will make okay money, but again, it's trailer dependent.
I was going to say recent DC,
that's
former
true. I mean,
DCEU, whatever the post Snyderverse track
Fallout.
record is not really showing it's going to make money.
And I even said that when I was talking about Blue Beetle. I think part of the reason that I was like, I can't really be there to make excuses and defend it is that I'm just like, I'm just punch drunk at this point. I'm just like, I can't. Black Adam and Shazam 2, took so much out of me.
Right.
I can't do it again. But anyway, yes, they're leaving Wonka, The Color Purple, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. All three of those are coming out in December, which is wild. You'd think they'd move one of those up to November.
Right. If you're going to take Dune out of that late November slot, like slide one of them in.
If you're trying to spread out your slate, spread it out. If you're moving something, like move something else, have something take the spot in November. But they're also moving Godzilla versus Kong, which was originally coming out on March 15th. So Dune got moved to March 15th, which was the date for Godzilla Kong. Godzilla Kong is moving a month to April 12th. What was supposed to come out on April 12th is an animated film, which we talked about years ago on this podcast, Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, was supposed to come out April 12th, and that's getting moved to December of 2024. So that's getting punted huge, which is wild. I don't know. So yeah, I guess they're spreading out their content, but I don't know. It just seems like the gears for Dune were like turning already. And like you said, it was gonna make money no matter what. Like, I feel like Dune isn't a movie. Like, I don't need to see an interview with Timothy Chalamet to know whether or not I'm gonna see Dune Part 2. I saw Dune Part 1, and it was good. So I'm gonna see Dune Part 2.
Right.
I
saw half
I don't
the
need
movie,
Rebecca
so I'm going to see the other half of the movie.
Yeah, I don't need Zendaya or Rebecca Ferguson to tell me what their experience was making Dune Part 2, because I'm already in.
Right.
We're locked in.
I would love to see that afterwards in the DVD promotional materials or something.
But like, I don't need them to tell Jimmy Fallon about it before I go see it. Like, I'm not on the fence. I feel like how many on the fence people are just gonna jump in to see Dune Part 2 without having seen Dune Part 1? I don't know.
Yeah, probably the Venn diagram is not much of an overlap there.
Not much. And like March is such like a nothing month for movies. Really, I mean, it's better than January or February, but like March, I don't know. Like, it's such like if you're gonna move Dune, make it a summer release. Put it in May at least.
Yeah, give it that early blockbuster feel and like, hey, blow the summer out with this, whatever.
Right, because you don't have any like, DC has been wildly hit or miss for them since the beginning of them trying to make an interconnected unit. Post Christopher Nolan Batman, we all know DC has been up and down, huge mixed bag for them. So, but even that, after Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, they're done with DC movies until Superman Legacy in 2025. So what's your summer 2024 look like, Warner Brothers? If you're moving stuff, put them in the summer, because you need summer money. You need summer dollars. You need summer blockbuster stuff. And I don't know if you have that. So it's weird to move. Yeah, it's weird to move Dune and Godzilla to, late spring or early, mid-spring dates and not give them just kick it off with Dune in May for, Memorial Day weekend. Give us Dune Part 2 and then give us Kong 4th of July. I don't know. Seems I don't know. I'm not David Zaslav. I'm not as smart as he is. I don't understand movies as well as he does. So
Well, and
who am
even
I to say?
what is it? Even within December, you've got when is Wonka coming out?
I think Wonka's early
Wonka's
December.
no, Wonka's the 15th. Aquaman is the 20th.
Oh,
So
yeah,
like
and Color Purple's on Christmas. Color
Right.
Purple's the 25th, I think.
yeah,
So
Color
like
Purple's
that's
on
three
Christmas.
movies really close together.
Yeah.
That seems dumb.
Now it
I don't
doesn't.
know.
I pulled up a list and it doesn't look like any of them are running against anything too crazy. But like, what are you doing?
I feel like I don't know. I don't know that the promotion they're gonna, because then what if, I mean, obviously I would like the studios to cave and negotiate with the unions and end the strike.
Yeah.
I would like that to happen sooner than later. But what if it doesn't? What if the strike is still going on March 15th and then they still don't have actors to promote Dune and they also don't have an Empire magazine spread and trailers for 2 months? Like, I feel like they're taking a chance at getting slightly more money while they're like saying no to like a dump truck of money that
Yeah.
would hit them in November.
Warner,
It's like
wait,
they're
Warner Brothers biting off their nose to spite their face. Really? That's
yeah.
you're surprised by
It
this?
seems like they're like clamoring for scraps
Yeah.
when they got a feast just around the corner. You know, like
yeah. So you've got, I mean, beyond that, in the same vein, you have Madam Web in February, the Valentine's Day release, and then like a Quiet Place sequel in March, right before Dune, and then live action Snow White, and a Ghostbusters sequel that is unnamed.
oh yeah, that
in
got
March?
moved. That was supposed to come out this December too. That got moved. Ghostbusters in March.
Yep, those are all in March. Outside of everything I mentioned that wasn't Madam Web is March. But beyond that, you've got Godzilla Kong, and
Yeah.
then that's like Deadpool 3 in May, supposedly. Who knows if that's what's going on there?
I know.
I
yeah,
doubt it because
they-
everything like got shut down
Stopped.
with the filming.
I know. Yeah.
A Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in May, which who knows there? And then Bad Boys in the summer.
Oh wow. Yeah, I forgot about Bad Boys.
Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Yeah, but because that's gonna.
Did that
They're
get
not
shut
filming
down
that.
too?
They weren't done with that when the first one came out. So like these
Yeah.
things are gonna get moved.
Untitled Venom
I mean-
sequel in July, like Captain America: Brave New World, that's going to be moved.
I mean,
Alien
maybe it'll.
Romulus, like all of those are going to
Oh
have
yeah,
to
that's the
move.
working title. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are all gonna get moved. Yeah, so like I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll work out for them because there just won't be anything else coming out. People will be desperate to go to the movies to see something.
I mean, there's a Lion King prequel that's scheduled for June.
Ugh, come on.
Well, I'm assuming since it's Mufasa the Lion King.
Is that theatrical or is that just gonna be a Disney Plus?
Well, it's got Seth
Making a
Rogen.
Mufasa prequel?
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Yep.
Oh my God, Disney. No one cares about that.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
Yep, they're doing it.
So wildly stupid.
I
Who know?
mean,
Maybe there's big-
spoiler alert. It can't be after the Lion King.
Yeah, true. Oh, maybe there's big Mufasa fans out there that are dying to know what he was like as a child. But
There are dozens of us.
yeah. So anyway, things are getting moved around, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that some of these movies get moved again. Because we're gonna. I mean, now we're hearing about delays and shakeups release schedule wise. And I guess we're just gonna keep hearing that. We're gonna start hearing more indefinite delays of things. Because even if, like you said, Deadpool 3 is supposed to come out in May.
Yeah.
I don't think they're done making that movie. And even if the strike is over by the end of this year, there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to finish whatever they needed to finish before May. You
Right.
know,
And the
so
whole
I think it's
premise was keep filming and then let Ryan do ADR on like the
right.
ad lib stuff.
Yeah,
And if you
do
can't do
rewrites
that,
in the
then
ADR.
what are you doing?
So, yeah, yep. And whatever crazy stuff Tom Cruise is doing in Dead Reckoning Part 2 hasn't been done yet. So, he's probably off in Siberia training to ride a motorcycle off of a rocket as it leaves the atmosphere or something, but so I guess he can do that because that's not acting. He can get ready, but they haven't shot it yet.
Yeah.
They're still gonna have to shoot it. So all these
Right.
I feel like any summer movie is gonna get pushed. I don't like this coming like a year from now we will have not had nearly the glut of summer movies that we had this year. Not even close. It's gonna be
Nope.
pretty dry summer next summer, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think you're probably onto something
Yep.
there.
And we're starting to see signs of that now. I don't think this will be the last. I think we're going to hear about more stuff getting pushed. I think probably pretty soon. Especially if it's other Q4 stuff, they're going to have to make the decision on whether it's Sony or Disney or whoever. Like, things are going to start getting pushed around.
Brian in the chat said, "How'd Scar get that scar? We need to know."
Yeah,
The masses need to know.
I mean, his name is Scar. So, was he born with a scar? Or is Scar a nickname that he got after he received his scar? Or was it like Destiny? They named him Scar, and then one day, he ended up with a scar. And they're like, oh, is that funny? That's your name. I don't know.
Jesus. This is why we can't have nice things, Disney.
How interesting is that story? It's dumb. They're going to reveal that Scar's real name was Mufasu. I don't know, something, It's going to be dumb.
Yep.
Do you know, you just read a title.
Yes.
But is it like an animated movie? Sorry. Is it a computer animated movie, or does it look like we're trying to make them look like real lions, or are we just cartoon lions?
I think it's the CGI. It's all the same voice actors as the live action, not live action one.
Oof. Okay.
Because everyone loved that.
Everyone loved it, and no one talks about it because it was the same movie that they made in the 90s.
And apparently, so the cast is listed as Aaron Pierre as young Mufasa, Kelvin Harrison Jr. as young Scar, and then somehow Billy Eichner as Timon, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. Because Timon and Pumbaa would have what to do with those two in their past life?
Oh my God. Are we gonna find out that Mufasa knew Timon and Pumbaa when he was younger? This is lore that I just couldn't possibly care less about, and I'm mad that I'm even thinking about it now.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm mad that they're making me dissect Lion King lore.
Yeah.
And I'm furious that my brain is doing that.
How about if we're going to dive into lore and hit the Wayback Machine, why don't we do it in a universe we enjoy?
Like Star Wars?
I think so.
Okay. A galaxy far, far away. A galaxy, singular, one galaxy.
Hey, we're still in one galaxy.
We're still in one galaxy. That's a little reference to our Ahsoka review, a reaction to the first 2 episodes of Disney's Ahsoka that you can listen to on our feed right now. If you usually watch us on YouTube, we had a little weird glitchy thing with our recording last week. Or when we did the Ahsoka series reaction. So cut off like the first 10-ish minutes of us talking and kind of jumps right into our conversation. But if you're listening on the podcast feed,
too, on top of that.
Yeah, that's true. And the audio was a panned to one speaker, so it was a little quieter than normal. So anyway, technology issues aside, you can watch us on YouTube talk about the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. You can listen to in full audio glory with no technical issues. The podcast version is available as well. And I think we're going to try, as long as our schedules allow, we're going to try to do
night of.
more night of instant reactions to the show, whether it be Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
I think we're gonna try to keep doing that for the series as long as the series goes.
Yeah, assuming
we'll see
assuming the quality holds up to what they've had now, we're gonna give it a go. Because
Yeah.
spoiler alert, both of our reactions was generally positive.
Very positive.
Also, for anyone listening in the chat, let us know if the audio sounds fine or if anything's wonky, like at all times, ever. Feel
For
free
sure.
to let us know.
Yeah, if you're watching live or you're watching later or you're listening, whatever, if you want to say, hey, Steve was way louder than Mike or Mike was distorted or whatever, like let us know and we'll do our best to fix it. We pride
Cranked
ourselves
up the gain
our
on Mike
sound
and dropped the
quality.
volume. It's just like his guitar. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mike needs a little overdrive. But speaking of Star Wars, and it's not the first time we've had a topic like this come up or an announcement like this, but an old Star Wars game is getting a modern remaster. Star Wars Dark Forces. It's getting remastered by Night Dive Studios. Star Wars Dark Forces was a first-person shooter Star Wars game that came out in the 90s. But it's being updated to fit like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox consoles, and also the Nintendo Switch. They released a trailer for the game, kind of focusing on the updates that they're going to be making. I don't really see like huge improvements. I mean, it seems like they're updating the cutscenes
Yeah,
a little bit better.
They're doing that, and they're sprucing up some of the visuals so it isn't the old school like early late 90s early 2000s polygons and whatnot. They're smoothing it over and making it playable on the new stuff. And that's kind of what this Night Dive Studios has been doing. They've remastered System Shock, Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, the old N64 game.
Oh wow!
Forsaken, Doom 64, Quake, Quake 2, Sin.
Wow, yeah.
So they've
like
done
their expertise.
Yeah, like that's kind of their thing, is picking up these old games and giving them a spruce up. I don't know if you have any experience with the Dark Forces series.
Zero, but I was about to ask you if you did.
Oh, I did. Did for the PC back in the day. Dark Forces and Dark Forces 2, as well as what became Jedi Knight, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Academy, and all of those games were very, very seminal in my video game upbringing. So,
oh wow,
and also the weird development of Steve's Star Wars, where all of the shit he enjoyed wasn't the movies. It was like the books and the video games and all this other stuff, which is probably why I always petition for Star Wars to go outside of the Skywalker trilogy. Of like, hey, you made all this good stuff back in the day, and it was really good. So why don't you just make new stuff instead of retreading everything? Now, this retread, like, I don't know if I'll play it, but Dark Forces was a great game, and it introduced you to Kyle Katarn, who through all of Legends was one of the coolest characters ever. So in Dark Forces and Dark Forces 2, he's just a random rebel soldier that you're playing as. He's the player character through it. And you're just a normal dude. And then in Dark Forces, you're just a guy shooting stormtroopers like you saw in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. That's what's going on. Dark Forces 2 is subtitled Jedi Knight, where Katarn learns he has force powers and begins to be trained by Luke in the ways of the Jedi at the original Jedi Academy.
Nice.
And then that progresses into, so it was Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, and then Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Academy. Like it was a weird jump, but yeah, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and then Jedi Academy. So, and
so
weirdly,
2 Dark Forces games and 3 Jedi Knight games.
Yep, but there was
all
overlap on one of them, and all of them but Jedi Academy featured Katarn. I think Katarn was like one of the masters in Jedi Academy as well. So, in general, it was a really well done, well received series. And Lucasfilm or LucasArts back in those days, where everything they put out was real solid. The X-Wing series, that. Did you ever play any old school Star Wars video games?
No, man. I wasn't a computer
Yep.
game person. And I mean, I had like a Sega Genesis. But that's all I had for a long time until I got till I got to college and started playing stuff on PlayStations and things like that. Like I was not a big video game guy because I just didn't own a console. I was a go to my friend's house and beg them to let me play their video games, whether it was computer
Play
or
some
not,
Mario
because I
Kart
just
here and
didn't
there.
have.
And
Like we never had like a computer that could handle games like that, really. So I just never was able to try them out.
Yeah.
So, but
See,
I remember going to.
But I had a cousin that did.
Oh, there you go. I remember going to like stores and stuff and seeing, like, holding boxes for like things like, for Dark Forces or for Jedi Knight or whatever, and like I'm like, this is a Star Wars game. Like I'm holding in my hand more Star Wars,
Right.
and I can't experience it,
Right.
and it's killing me.
It's
I
a
have
thing,
no way
and
to
I'm looking at
experience
these
this.
screens on the back that look like Star Wars, and
Exactly. I'm just imagining. I'm like, oh, that's an X-wing flying somewhere. Like, oh wow, that's so cool. I wonder what's happening.
yeah. So for Dark Forces and Dark Forces 2, that was 95 and 97. Those came out. Definitively remember playing them over at my cousin's house. After that, like, you had Jedi Outcast was 02, Academy was 03. Those and like Star Wars X-Wing Alliance that came out in 99. I remember playing on a computer at my house. But like X-Wing, TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter were all just like crazy space sims that were, if they remastered them now, would probably hold up as to how like randomly cool they were.
That's wild that, like, I know graphics weren't as big a deal, and like, first person shooter, like, who knows how like well planned out like the actual story is, but like that is a ton of games in a short amount of time.
Oh, that's
You're
not
saying
even
like
remotely...
1997 through 2003, and there's like 6 games you just mentioned. Like, holy shit, that is a ton of games in a very like a sequel to a game you love came out the next year. That's wild by today's standards. Like, that would never happen.
So check this out. I pulled up a list of Star Wars video games. X-Wing was 93, TIE Fighter was 94, XVT was 97, X-Wing Alliance was 99. That's the X-Wing series. So from 93 to 2003, let's stay in that wheelhouse. Rebel Assault was another another Star Wars game. 93. Rebel Assault 2 was 95. The Jedi Knight series that we talked about, so 4 games within that 10-year period. Rogue Squadron came out in 98. Rogue Squadron 2, 2001, 2003 for the sequel to that. So 3 more games.
Wow.
There were all the racer games inspired by Episode 1. 3 of those. You had Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which was like StarCraft, but in Star Wars, which was amazing to me, and I played the hell out of that.
Wow.
Starfighter was 01, 02, 03 for the 3 games there. KOTOR was 2003.
Knights of the Old
Republic. And then Knights of the Old Republic 2 was 2004. So it's outside of our window, but right there. Again, came out the next year.
I was trying to count, and I think you just named 20 games in 10
probably
years.
And it's still like Star Wars Galaxies came out in 2003. That was the MMO, like the huge open world ridiculousness. The Battlefront series came out just after that. Yeah, I mean that stretch was just
insane.
Yeah, well, actually, also you had Shadows of the Empire for the N64. In there too, which was like, that was a launch title for the N64.
Wow. What
Masters
happened?
of Terras Kasi was a fighting game that came out, and then Rebellion was an awesome like strategy game for the computer. yeah, they had Force Commander, Super Bombad Racing because you had to. Uh, oh,
Gotta be a
Star Wars,
Bombad general.
yeah, Star Wars Bounty Hunter came out for the GameCube. Like all of these things came out. Flight of the Falcon. This is all between 93 and 2003. It's insane what they were putting out.
Insane. So I feel like I said 20 and then you read like 10 more.
10 more, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wild. Well, so Steve, will you be picking up the remaster of Dark Forces whenever that comes out? There's no release date yet.
That probably depends on a price point. Like I'd throw
Sure.
$10 at it, but beyond that,
Yeah.
like I don't know. I
Yeah.
played that game a long
gotta-
time ago.
I mean, you got to think. I mean, if there's 5 or 6 games in this series alone, you got to think that if this does well, then they'll announce 2 in the Jedi Knight series as well. You'd think, right?
Yeah. One would
Cool.
think. Like, yeah,
Exciting.
have them redo it all. Like, why not?
Why not? Right?
Well, and they actually just came out with that Star Wars Starfighter. I wonder if they would capitalize on that and try and bring back some of the X-Wing TIE Fighter, X-Wing Alliance games.
Yeah.
But
Surprised they haven't.
Who knows?
Maybe this is like a testing, foot in the water.
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
thing.
they're because you alluded to it earlier. They announced the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which I guess
Which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I guess as of early this month, it's still in development. So that hasn't been. It's not like it's been shelved or anything. It's just continuing
Still
to plug
working
along.
on it. Yep, just no updates.
Yep.
I'm pumped for that because I never played that original game and I've heard it's great. And but I don't have an Xbox. I don't have an early Xbox or a way to play it right now. So definitely gonna play the remake when it comes out and hopefully continue to avoid spoilers for that game because I've heard there are things to be spoiled in the plot of that game.
There are. And one last video game note that I did not realize. Apparently in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, take a wild stab at who was a playable character in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4.
Same character?
No, different characters.
Okay.
Both dark
What
side
years
or
did those-
both bad guys.
Okay.
This would
I
be
was gonna guess
2001 and
Jar Jar.
2002.
Yeah, well, one of my guesses was going to be Jar Jar, so
Nope.
not anymore. Unless you believe the theory that he was a Sith
The
in
Darth
disguise.
Darth Biggs
Yeah.
or Darth Biggs.
Darth
Darth Biggs
Maul?
would be very different. Yes, Darth Maul was in Pro Skater 3.
And I got to say Darth Vader.
Nope. Jango Fett. So you could apparently
That's-
skate around on a skateboard as a Mandalorian.
That's random.
Yeah.
It would have been a while before I guessed Jango Fett.
Yeah.
I got to say.
Yep.
Wow. My guess after that was going to be General Grievous because that would be cool because he's got so many arms.
That would
I
be.
think you could do like sick tricks with the skateboard if you were like passing it to your other arms and stuff, and you
Right.
could just like,
Instead of the guy literally encased in a metal suit of armor that probably isn't as mobile as
Yeah,
anything else.
probably not a ton of visibility.
Right.
or whatever.
You have a T for a visor. Like, come on.
Yeah, shocking amount, just in general, shocking amount of visibility in Mandalorian helmets.
Yeah.
Seemingly anyone could sneak up from the side or the back and take them out. And
One would think.
with the exception of Han Solo accidentally killing Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi, that seems to never happen.
But not killing
Never
him.
seems to get. Oh yeah. Unfortunately.
Whoops. Somehow Boba Fett returned.
Yeah. I saw that whole show and it's still a somehow.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Which is funny
Um,
because in here we go on a tangent again. In Legends, Boba Fett is he survives, but he only makes it out of the Rancor because Dengar actually rescues him.
Oh, the Sarlacc. Yeah.
Yeah, not out of the Rancor. Jesus.
Yeah.
He makes it out of the pit of Carcoon only because he's rescued by Dengar and he's like all sorts of messed up.
Wow.
And it goes into a whole thing where in Legends, and it's much better, much more well done than Book of Boba Fett
Well
was.
told.
So
Well, speaking of Disney Plus and their shows of varying quality, that's something I think is pretty cool. Disney Plus has announced physical releases for a few of its shows. WandaVision, Loki, and Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 will be released on Blu-ray and 4K disc in cool steelbook cases with new artwork and never-before-seen bonus features. This is something that I know a lot of people wish streaming services would do.
Yeah.
Like, and I think Netflix ended up eventually releasing Stranger Things on Blu-ray. I could be wrong, but it's not like they do all their shows on Blu-ray. And a lot of streamers haven't done that because, when streaming exploded, it was like, oh, it's streaming, it's going to be on here forever. But now, when the bubble is bursting and people are canceling shows, Willow comes to mind. HBO Max has canceled tons of episodes of Sesame Street and Scooby-Doo and stuff like that, or just removed them completely. Kind of puts my eye back towards physical media and buying things. Like, I don't think Disney Plus would ever get rid of these 3 shows. Mandalorian is one of their biggest hits. WandaVision and Loki were big hits for them as well. Like, it makes sense that, there's still a market for physical releases. It's certainly not as big as it used to be, but people still buy these things. And like, just Star Wars fans alone will buy Mandalorian season 1 and season 2, even though they can still watch it. Like, there's big Star Wars collectors out there that want to own them. And that goes for a lot of stuff, especially now that there's a slight risk that someday Disney could say, we're going to take a tax write-off and no one really watches WandaVision anymore, so we're going to get rid of it.
Right.
Which seems impossible, but, I thought it would be impossible for them to do that with any show, 6 months ago. And here we are. So, if I was going to buy any of these, it would be Mandalorian 1 and 2. I don't know that I would rewatch WandaVision or Loki, but Mandalorian I probably would rewatch. I don't know that it's going to be in like better quality because like I got a 4K TV, so probably would look the same.
Right.
But I don't know. Something about just like having it in case I cancel Disney Plus someday. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of reasons to own physical media that you love, and because a lot of it, if it's digital, it's out of your control. You don't own it, and it can be taken away from you at any time. So,
yeah. I didn't for a long while because I didn't have a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
now I do.
Nice.
Mostly because my father-in-law didn't want it anymore.
Oh, there you go.
It's like, all right, I'll take a free Blu-ray player.
Yeah. I've gotten rid. I used to buy. I was a big collector. I had a huge VHS collection when I was a kid, and that became a DVD collection. That became a Blu-ray collection. And it's only in the last, I don't know, 5 years that I've really slowed down on buying physical stuff. Because, all of a sudden there's Disney Plus and all of a sudden there's HBO Max and all of a sudden there's all these like, oh, these things that I already own are here. And like, do I really want to get up and open a disc and put it in a thing? Or do I want to just click the remote button a couple times and not have to move? And all of a sudden I'm watching, Shazam or whatever. But,
I think,
but I don't know. Now that David Zaslav could just take it away from me at any second, I kind of am glad that I still have it. I've gotten rid of a lot of my collection, things that I just haven't watched or don't think I would watch or like aren't great quality. Like, it's almost like, am I going to watch Spider-Man 2 DVD on a like DVD quality with Spider-Man 2? No, I'll probably get a higher quality one anyway. So I'll either re-buy it on Blu-ray or just watch it digitally or whatever.
Right.
But there's still like some there's some I almost got rid of, and then I was like, well, what if they decide to pull the plug on this movie and I can never watch it again? Maybe I'll hold on to it.
So I think I'm going to start approaching it like I do my vinyl collection, where it's stuff that I know I'm going to rewatch and know I'm going to want to rewatch. Similarly with Apple Music, I can just press a button and whatever the hell I want can be there. But, if it's a, novel release or, something that I want to make sure I have a physical copy of that I will always be able to listen to in a certain quality, then I'm 100% going to pick up the physical version as well.
Yeah. For me, I agree. It's something that like I love this and I'm going to want to watch it many
Right.
times. And often now it's stuff that isn't connected to a major franchise that is associated with the corporation that owns it. Like, like Disney owns Star Wars. Star Wars stuff's going to be on Disney Plus. Disney owns Marvel. Marvel stuff's going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Same with like HBO or like Max. Warner Brothers owns that. DC stuff's going to be on Max. But actually, that's not even true anymore because now they're like
Right.
farming stuff out to other networks. So you don't really, there's no guarantee there. But for me, it's stuff like older movies, like older classics that aren't associated with a brand like
Okay. Yeah.
Jaws or like Back to the Future. Like those are Universal movies, but they're also like older enough that they're not, pre-streaming movies that weren't like, it wasn't written into the contract that Back to the Future is going to be on Netflix forever.
Yeah.
It gets licensed out by the studio. So like Universal, I guess they're partnered with NBC, so maybe they're in conjunction with Peacock or something. But like, I feel like sometimes Back to the Future is on Netflix and sometimes it's not, or like sometimes Jaws is on Max and sometimes it's not. Like just things like that. Like Iron Man, it's always going to be on Disney Plus.
Right.
I know exactly where it is. I don't want to necessarily search through a bunch of things if I feel like watching Back to the Future, but I have it on Blu-ray, so here it is. I can watch it anytime I want.
Right.
Or
And
like Into the Spider-Verse. Like we had like when Across the Spider-Verse was coming out, a friend of ours was like, I want to go see it because I hear it's great, but I've never seen Into the Spider-Verse and it's not streaming anywhere. I was like, well, I got it on Blu-ray if you want to watch it,
Yep.
So there we go.
Yeah. So actually, what I was doing was buying those digitally because again, I didn't have a physical Blu-ray player for a long time. I was actually buying those digitally through Apple, but same deal. Like Apple's not likely to go anywhere anytime soon. But in the eventuality that they did, or like discontinued for some reason their whole iTunes service, then I've got it.
Yeah. And I've also heard, or I've seen people online complaining about whether they were like transferring their stuff from one account to another account, or there was some kind of like glitch, or like they lost something from their computer. Like, just because you buy a digital copy of a movie, like it's not, you can't hold on to it. So like if something goes wrong and your hard drive gets erased, like that's gone too. And you just threw $20 at it. Gone.
Well, and that's why I decided, because like you can buy digital movies through whoever the hell you want.
Right.
And that's why I settled on Apple, because I was like, of any of them, they're probably pretty solid.
Probably gonna stick around.
If they go,
seemingly,
if their streaming stuff goes under, then we're in a whole new wild and woolly world.
Yeah. Cool. And also it depends on, I mean, they haven't released all the details. Like they released some details about Loki, but like if there's like more cool Mandalorian bonus features and stuff, or like commentaries and things, like I used to love a movie commentary.
Yep.
Like my wife would always make fun of me because like when I was in my collecting days, she would like, every movie he sees, he watches it at least 3 times because he'll go to see it in the theater. And if he likes it, he'll buy it on Blu-ray and he'll watch it again. And then he'll watch it again with director commentary.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, it's great. It's how I learn all this stuff about movies.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing.
You know how much crap I get for rewatching stuff?
Yeah.
It's like,
I
why
know.
would you, or like rereading? She's like, my wife's like, why would you reread that again? I'm like, because I liked it the first time and I want to glean more things from it. It's phenomenal. Like, yeah.
I want to experience the joy that I had of watching it the first time. Yeah. I get more out of it.
Yeah. This sparked joy. I would like to continue to spark joy. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so rare that they even now, I feel like when you do buy a physical thing, like a lot of times they don't put the effort into special features that they used to, because that used to be like the incentive to buy physical media. So like a lot of times they don't even have commentaries anymore. And I can't tell you, like, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not a director, but I feel like, the shit you and I talk about where we were able to like critique a movie or how it's made and sound like we know what we're talking about, 85% of that shit I learned from listening to directors talk about how they made their movie on commentaries and stuff. Like that's like, whether it's, I don't know, James Gunn or Sam Raimi or fucking Rob Zombie or like there's stuff to learn there. Like, how did you get this shot? Why did you choose to shoot it this way? What is better about this image than that image, or this camera movement than your other option? Like, they talk about all that stuff because they got to fill 2 hours of talking. And it's really interesting. So anyway, buy physical stuff. There's cool special features, and you'll learn a lot from commentaries. Check out commentaries. If you've never done one, it's fun. Maybe someday Steve and I will do some commentaries on movies that we like. We talk about that every once in a while.
Yeah.
And we never have
Now,
pulled the trigger on
if
it.
these people listen to us for an hour and a half, they could definitely listen to a movie commentary.
Yeah. Yeah. They could listen to us talk about movie commentary
That's
for an
true.
hour and a half.
Do our own MST3K.
Yeah. That's probably what primed me for being into directors' commentaries, to be honest with you. Is like, I can listen to these jokers make fun of a movie for 2 hours, then I can listen to someone talking seriously about a movie for 2 hours too.
Yeah.
Like,
God,
my
that back in
appetite
its
for it.
prime was so good. So good.
Even the new stuff is good. That's
I
think
haven't seen any new stuff. That's the only reason
There's 2 new seasons of it on Netflix that are really good.
Really?
And they just through a Kickstarter, they're building their own like site and like their own like streaming service, basically, where you'll be able to like when you can like log in and purchase access to watch a new one, and they're gonna have it like all digitally online and stuff like that. So it's really cool. I was part of the Kickstarter, so I keep getting updates about it, but I'm not sure it might be in like, I think it's in beta right now. It hasn't like fully launched, but yeah, check out there's 2 new seasons of Mystery Science Theater on Netflix, or new within the last like 5 years.
Right.
It's very good. It's very funny. It's always something like if I don't have anything to watch, I just want to chill out and not have to pay attention to anything.
Mindless something in the background. It's perfect.
Yeah, but still makes me laugh out loud every time.
It's
great.
From the sports world, it reminds me of baseball, where like you can not pay attention for whatever and then jump back in for like 10 minutes and you're completely satisfied.
Yeah, you're still on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening, you don't know what Mystery Science Theater is, look it up. You will not be disappointed. It's hilarious and one of the weirdest, greatest television shows of all time.
Yeah.
I think. Just such a outlier of insanity. Moving into some comics, DC announces sequels to both Batman 89 and Superman 78. These were comic book canonical extensions of the Tim Burton Batman universe and the Richard Donner Superman universe. First Batman movie came out in 1989. First Superman movie came out in 1978. The Batman 89 sequel is called Batman 89 Echoes, and the Superman is Superman 78, The Metal Curtain, who both begin their runs this November. Superman 78, The Metal Curtain, is written by Robert Venditti and illustrated by Gavin Guidry. And the synopsis for that goes, as Superman has become a symbol of strength and pride for America, the Soviet Union looks to crush that image with a creation of their own, built by their own might and forged by their own power.
That's Gavin Guidry.
I read the first. Sorry, what's that?
That's pronounced Guidry for the record.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
of course it is. If you're listening at home, take a drink. I mispronounced the name.
You know who you are.
Yeah. I read the first issue of Superman 78, the first run. I thought it was good. It didn't like really pull me in too much. What I did read all 6 issues of was Batman 89, discounting Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, picking up after Batman Returns, and moving forward with Billy D. Williams or as Harvey Dent, or the character was clearly drawn as if it was Billy D. Williams. Batman, they're all drawn like the characters that the actors that were playing them in those movies. So when you're reading that, it was cool. Like I'm reading Batman 89 and hearing Michael Keaton's voice in my head as I'm reading his dialogue, hearing Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. Really cool to see how they did that. The cool thing about Batman 89 is the writer is Sam Hamm, who is the guy that wrote the screenplay for 1989's Batman.
Oh, wow.
So it's awesome. So he didn't write Batman Returns, but he did. It does still feel like it's in that universe, same kind of style.
Nice.
And it's the same creative team, so it's him and Joe Quinones on art. Synopsis for Batman 89 Echoes is, after Harvey Dent's crusade against Gotham and Batman, the Caped Crusader has disappeared without a trace. In his place, ordinary citizens have taken to the streets to root out crime. As innocents get hurt, the question on everyone's mind is the same: where is Batman? So the cool thing about this moving forward is, because they changed their minds about having Billy D. reprise his role as Harvey Dent for the third Batman movie. They ended up recasting because, by the way, Warner Brothers did not want a black face, which I think is really stupid and very racist. They paid Billy D. Williams a ton of money to get out of his contract because he accepted the role of Harvey Dent in the first movie on the condition that he would become Two-Face in a subsequent film. They decided to rob him of that. But so that's why it was kind of cool to see that, like, what could have happened in a comic. There were also rumors around that time after Batman and Robin. I think that they were, those movies just lost themselves in, like, let's cast the biggest star ever to be in this movie and not worry about writing anything good. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze. Yeah, perfect. There were rumors for the Batman movie that was supposed to come after that Jeff Goldblum was going to be the Scarecrow and that Madonna was going to be Harley Quinn, having been recently introduced in Batman the Animated Series. And so seemingly from the art that has been teased from this second run of Batman 89, they are going with Scarecrow drawn to resemble Jeff Goldblum, or Jonathan Crane drawn to resemble Jeff Goldblum, and Harley drawn to resemble Madonna, which I think is cool. Just more like, what if they had actually made this movie, but just as a comic book, which I think is cool. They should do more stuff like that.
Jeff Goldblum playing Scarecrow would be, or at least the Jonathan Crane part of Scarecrow would be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it would be
I
cool.
could see that.
Be kind of a good cast, right?
Yeah.
I wish they did more stuff like this with, like, movies we almost got. Like, I would love Sam Raimi to do Spider-Man 4 as a comic book miniseries. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Like,
Sam
it might be
Raimi
weird and bad.
was supposed to be at Fan
still.
Expo. He didn't make it.
Oh, well.
I wouldn't have seen him either way, but
you wouldn't have seen him either way. Another DC book that I'm very excited about is Batman Santa Claus, Silent Night. Night, of course, spelled Knight. This is a new 4-issue miniseries written by Jeff Parker, drawn by Michelle Bandini, coming out, of course, December 2023. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Is just issue 1 coming out in December, and then the following 4 issues are going to be in, like, January, February. Like, I don't want to read a Christmas thing in March. Like, you should put this out as a one-shot. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just thinking about that now. But anyway, this is an in-canon story. This is not an Elseworlds. This is not a Christmas dream or something. This is an in-canon story that before Christmas that sees Batman and Santa Claus working together to solve a grisly crime involving monsters and other DC superheroes. The official synopsis goes as follows. Santa Claus is coming to town. The 4-part crossover event of a generation begins when not-so-jolly Saint Nick hits Gotham City to investigate a brutal crime in the days leading up to Christmas. What manner of man or beast could have committed such atrocities? With the help of his former student, Batman, Santa will team up with the heroes of the DC universe to right this wrong, or the world wakes up to coal in their stockings. A brutal, two-fisted holiday tale of hope, wonder, and monster hunting. The perfect treat to ring in the holidays. It's Claus in canon. So they are now canonically saying that Batman once studied with Santa Claus before becoming Batman. This sounds insane.
yes, it does.
It sounds wild and crazy and like it came out of some lunatic's ravings. And I'm going to buy all 4 issues of it and read it and love it. I hope to love it. Crazy. Can't wait for that.
It's gonna be a thing.
Eve. It's gonna be a thing. What else is a thing? Some things that are coming out this week. Do you have a comic to review?
I do.
I sure do.
And it will be a surprise to you as to how and or what that comic is. Because I am reviewing Dawn of DC Green Lantern #1.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That is a surprise.
My first ever Green Lantern read in any way, shape, or form.
So this book has been out for a little bit. Is that correct?
I think it was.
Or am I thinking of a
No,
different
this
Green
is
Lantern book?
So they brought Dawn of DC back, or no? This was.
Dawn of DC is kind of like an ongoing thing.
They did it, and then they dropped it for the weird like they had 75 crossovers going this summer, and now they're bringing Dawn of DC back. So they put 2 issues out, and then shelved it.
Left it for the Night Terrors thing. Oh, okay.
And then,
oh, wow.
the Night Terrors and there was like 2 other crossovers DC did.
Yeah.
And now they're apparently this week bringing back Dawn of DC, like starting the like issue 3s of things.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Jesse was like, hey, why don't you take a look at, since they're bringing Dawn of DC back, why don't you look at a jumping on point for one of these runs? And I had never done a Lantern run, so
well, what did you think, Steve?
I don't know. It was a very open. So the book itself is written by Jeremy Adams and Philip Kennedy Johnson, who has been all over a lot of things lately.
Yeah.
Yep. Artists were Germanico and Montos, and colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr. and Adriano Lucas. So basically, the whole setup is Hal Jordan's back on Earth.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a setup to that, apparently, because again, I don't know anything about any of these characters. So he comes back and immediately tries to get back with his ex, who already
Carol?
has a fiance or some boyfriend or something. Flies a plane really fast, too fast, stupid, very Tom Cruise and Top Gun maneuver.
That's some classic Hal Jordan right there, bud.
Yep. Okay. So he's effectively Maverick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's what I was getting from this book, was that Hal Jordan is Maverick.
Yeah, he's cocky. He thinks he can do it.
Oh yeah, full blown, like had the straight
always
up
pushes
bomber
it too far.
jacket. Like I was like, yeah, this is, if you did not make him blonde, he would be Tom Cruise.
Right. Yeah.
And like it leaves it in a place where you could pick it up for a decent story, but having no idea about the character, I don't know. I mean, I think it was a good jumping on point.
Seems like it was kind of like a reset for people that had read.
Yeah.
Because I believe that he was in Grant Moore. I don't know if this was the last time we saw Hal Jordan, but Grant Morrison did like a huge, crazy, insane space epic with Hal Jordan within the last like 2 years. So that may have been where he was left, and this is his return. So this is seeming like, from what you're describing, seems like a reset for him. Like he's not in space anymore. He's back on Earth, and we're resetting to where things are going to escalate or whatever.
And it gave you a very strong, like, if, like you said, if that's the character, and that's like, it gave you a very, very good introduction to that character.
Yeah.
So I would say it's a solid setup and solid reset.
Nice.
This issue did also have a Jon Stewart story in it.
Like a backup story? Cool.
So that was what Philip Kennedy Johnson did along with Montos. They did it is Jon Stewart Homecoming Part 1 that basically, I guess everybody's coming home. So
nice.
Yeah, it's there's a lot in it. It's a decent issue. I'd be curious where it goes. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, having no idea about any of either of the characters for the most part. I would probably rather get some background and read some trades before I grab number 2. But if I was going to add one more thing to my pull list, because I really need that, like once I get out of Fall of X, maybe I'll
maybe I'll jump into Green Lantern.
Maybe I'll jump into something. But yeah, the overall solid book, good jumping on point. The character intrigued me, but it was also drink if you're listening. Yeah, so I'd recommend it. You know, if you're especially
cool.
if you're looking for a reset on Lantern or something like that, then it's definitely a good place to start.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And it's also maybe they might be setting that up because, I mean, when James Gunn announced his slate, they announced that Green Lantern show, and they said it's going to be set on Earth. So maybe that's why they're bringing those two characters back to kind of mirror what they're planning to do in movie land.
Yeah, and they the Stewart one definitely references. I mean, I believe he's talking to Guy Gardner
mhm.
through a bunch of the stuff going on, and you know, there's a whole lot of extraterrestrial weird shit
Ooh,
happening.
yeah,
More so in the Stewart
yeah.
one than in the other
Oh
in the
wow,
other
then in the
book.
main story.
It looks like I think I think Guy Gardner's dying
Ooh, yikes!
by the look of it, and
Poor guy.
actually, yeah, yeah, it something is killing the other lanterns. That's what that
Oh
was.
damn.
It had been a bit since I had looked at it, but something is killing like Guy Gardner and one of the other lanterns that I can't tell just by looking at it.
Oh,
But
there's thousands of them.
yeah, one of
Yeah.
the other humanoid-looking ones, and
Mhm.
is the last lines of it are "Bring me John Stewart."
Oh wow. Okay.
So then the art
Interesting.
on
Cool
actually
setup.
the art on the first book is quite nice.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's great looking.
As you can
Cool.
see, the go fast, try hard stuff, but you know, there's a
Yeah,
versatility
yeah.
to it as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
Cool.
good book.
Nice. Well, we got 2 DC books then this week. I was very excited when Jesse handed me my issue to review. Uh, Batman, Catwoman, The Gotham War, Battle Lines, issue 1. I did not I had heard that this series was happening. I didn't realize it was directly coming after Night Terrors. I thought there was like a little bit of time in between. But no, Night Terrors is ending, and Batman, Catwoman, Gotham War is starting. I had no idea what this book was about. Coming off of the last few years, Batman and Catwoman have almost gotten married, been acting pretty much like they were married for a while, then they kind of like uh, drifted apart, even though that was like we understand that we are together forever, but we're just not gonna like physically be together all the time. And and then like you do, you drift away from a romance plot after a while because you gotta switch things up and make things interesting. And then I heard Batman Gotham War, and I didn't know what that was going to be about. It's Batman versus Catwoman in a way that I
Huh.
found very interesting. First thing that I realized jumping in, it's written by both Teenie Howard and Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, okay.
Teenie Howard is currently the main writer on Catwoman. Chip Zdarsky, the main writer on Batman. They're coming together to write this story, which I think is great. Pencils by Mike Hawthorne, inks by Adriano Di Benedetto, and colors by Romulo Fajardo. Is a great book. The setup is really cool. If you've been reading Batman, you know that his life has been going kind of nonstop lately since an evil tech that he designed went against him and almost killed him and all of his Bat family. Ended up sending him into another universe. He had to fight his way back from another universe. Spoiler alert, gets his hand cut off. Bruce Wayne currently has a mechanical hand in a lot of these comics. Has been away for a long time. Then as soon as he gets back, the whole Night Terrors thing started. And apparently after Night Terrors is over, he's just asleep, passed out for like 8 weeks because of the effects of like the dreams and the nightmares and being possessed
Right.
by dead man as a whole thing. So he wakes up after 8 weeks of being asleep and wants to explore Gotham again and notices that crime is way down. And then Catwoman calls a meeting for him and the entire Bat family and reveals that she, in the interim, while he's been gone, while he's been fighting Insomnia and the Night Terrors arc, and while he's been asleep, she has been recruiting henchmen that usually work for Gotham City crooks, Penguin, Riddler, Joker, Mr. Professor Pig, Maxie Zeus, all these different kinds of top tier and lower tier villains. She's been recruiting them
those
and
last two
training.
you didn't just make those up on the spot.
I did not. I did not. I can explain both of them to you another time. I don't want to take the time to, but one of them's insane. One of them would be in a horror movie. If they ever put Professor Pig in a Batman movie, it would be a horror movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, she's been recruiting and training all these henchmen to be cat burglars and thieves like herself. And she's creating this like kind of army of thieves, and she's given them these rules. They only steal from the super rich in Gotham, the super rich and the super corrupt. They don't kill anybody, and they split the profits evenly. And her argument is that it's Robin Hood style. You're robbing from the super rich, and these are people that don't have the means to support themselves or don't have the education to get a job or whatever. That's why they became henchmen in the first place. And because of that, crime in Gotham City is way down. So she pitches this to Batman and the Bat family, and some of the Bat family is like, this doesn't sound that bad. Sounds okay, but it's very interesting because Batman is suddenly confronted with his mission kind of being accomplished, but not by him. And that kind of rubs against the way he wants to do it. It's kind of like you can tell his ego is getting in the way of letting it happen, but also, he makes a point too. He's like, well, hey, my parents were rich and something really bad happened to them and it affected my life. So like, I don't think crime should happen to anybody. He's like, I get your point, but like, no one deserves to be stolen from, or no one deserves to be treated like, whatever.
Yep.
And it's interesting because it's written, his argument is written in a way better than what I said. It's written in a way that isn't like a defense of corrupt billionaires, but, it's just a defense of like, all crime is bad, he's like, I get what you're doing, but, and then later in the issue, he even questions himself, like, am I wrong to be thinking like this? Like, is she right? Like, but it's just an interesting thing. I think you and I were talking about some other Batman, the City of Madness thing, when that was announced, about how there's like a city underneath Gotham or something. And I was talking about how like it's seemingly like harder and harder to confront Batman with something he's not prepared for or something that he doesn't already know, without just taking like huge wild swings. Like there's a whole wild monster city underneath Gotham, like that's something he doesn't know. So it's a new problem, but this isn't a new problem. It's like a solution to his crusade, and how he is responding to it is very interesting. It's like a really cool position to put him in, where not only is he up against the love of his life and his wife, more or less, he's confronted with actually letting the city be safer, maybe, possibly. But there's also like complications. It's towards the end of the issue, like, it's not as easy for Catwoman's people as she may have made it seem. And so this was a really interesting issue. Like I said, I didn't know anything about it going in. Like the setup was really great, really cool. And I will pick up the next issue of it. I think there are there's a few that are going to be, it's going to be in the pages of Batman and Catwoman. And then there's going to be specific Gotham War issues to follow things up. But this is like the Battle Lines is the intro issue. And then it's the next two issues of Catwoman. And there's going to be a specific Red Hood special. And then the next two issues of Batman, Catwoman, and then a couple other specific Gotham War tie-on or tie-up issues. I'm going to collect them all. It's a super interesting concept.
Nice.
I think. And it's cool that they're like teaming up to write it, I think, as well, because they're both in charge of those characters. And so it makes, a lot of times when there's like crossover stuff, you can tell it's not the same writer, or, it's not part of the plan that was originally there. So like, it's cool that they're doing it a little bit more organically. So
nice.
Big thumbs up to Batman, Catwoman, Gotham War issue 1.
And that one's coming out this week.
What is coming out this week? Yes, that issue, as well as Batman Beyond Neo Gothic number 2, the aforementioned Batman, Catwoman, Gotham War Battle Lines number 1, Black Hammer: The End number 1, Blade number 2, Blade Runner 2039 number 6. I thought that series was done. I haven't read that title in a long time. It must have taken a big break in between issues, but whatever. Conan the Barbarian, number 2. Deadpool, Bad or Blood, number 3. Death of the Venomverse, number 3. Elvira in Monsterland, number 4. Nort's Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, DC's Summer Swimsuit issue coming out this week. Grimm Fairy Tales, number 75. Gunbreed, number 1. And Hulk, number 3. Marvel Age 1000. I'm not sure what that is. Some kind of landmark anniversary issue for something or just celebratory. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 30th Anniversary Special, number 1. Moon Knight Annual, number 1. Ms. Marvel, number 1. Spider-Man India, number 3. Star Wars Bounty Hunters, number 37. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, number 8. Ultimate Invasion, number 3. And Wolverine, number 36. Now, the email that I got from my, not from Funky Town, but from another comics thing that I had been signed up for forever. This was mixed up and it included titles from last week. So if I repeated any titles that I said on last week's show that are coming out last week, it's my mistake. I tried to weed out all the ones that I already said, but I don't really remember what every comic book that I say every single week. So most of these are new coming out this week. 1 or 2 maybe are already out, but you know what? I'm sure they're still at your local comic book shop. So,
well, I know the 3 on there that I'm going to end up pulling are not.
Oh, what's not on there that you're going to pull?
Oh no, I'm saying 3 of those on there I am pulling.
Oh, okay. What are you pulling?
I've picked up Incredible Hulk since the first 2 on that were great. I do have to toss you those first 2 at some point.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
I mean, Horror Hulk. What more do you need?
I know.
Ms. Marvel, because it's tied into Fall of X, I will end up with. I'm kind of curious as to what they're doing there. It seems like they're bringing her back around as a mutant on top of the Inhuman thing.
But that's also the one that's written by Iman Vellani, too.
Yes, it is.
So that'd be cool to check out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Ultimate Invasion 3.
Oh, nice.
Because 1 and 2 were good. So I kept it going.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely going to, just for shits and giggles, going to get the North Illustrated DC swimsuit edition because I think that's fun.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's anything else that I'm pulling this week, but I do want to mention I haven't even finished reading this issue, but I started reading Penguin #1, the new Tom King book, and within the first few pages, I was like, "This is great. This is a great way to start a book." Like he knows how to hook you sometimes, and it's one of those things where it's showing you something that's going to happen towards the end of the story in a way that you're like, wow, how did they get here? How did this happen? And then it's going to flash back to, 1 year previously. And then you're going to get to Batman and Penguin bleeding out in the Batmobile as it sinks into Gotham Harbor.
Right.
And you're just like, whoa, what is happening? So yeah, really hooky right off the bat and seems very gritty crime awesomeness. So
there you go.
Can't wait. Yeah, can't wait. You read anything else this week?
No. Trying to catch up on Immortal X-Men. Trying to keep up with Fall of X. Yeah, no, that's what I got. That's
Nice.
enough. That's a full-time job in itself.
Agreed. Yeah, it's plenty. Plenty. I think that's all I got. Yeah, I don't even have any one-shots now. Like I said, it's I think we were able to tangent quite enough. We talked about Lion King. We talked about physical releases.
Well,
more than I expected.
You know what mark we're going to end up hitting?
What's that?
1 hour and 20.
No way. Are you kidding me?
1:18:31 right now, buddy. So
my God.
Yeah, we can't
Wow.
apparently pare it down much more.
We can't shut up.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
Well, in that case, let's try and get it under 120.
Let's do it.
Subscribe. Check us out on all the socials, the Multiverse Report. If you want to leave us a review, it's much appreciated. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Beyond that, there's plenty of ways to get a hold of us. Just Google it.
Yeah, check us out on the socials. Pretty active on Instagram recently. And that's it. We'll see us later this week for our Ahsoka review of episode 3, whenever we get to do that, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.